Alright, so I'm going to talk all about tires now. So some tires they wear differently, some tires they have stickier compounds, more grip, some tires are softer, some tires are harder. You could get wider tires, more narrow tires, you could get tires with a higher sidewall, tires with a lower sidewall. Some tires are easier for transitioning, some tires are better to start out with drifting. You know, there's all sorts of things that really go into tires, you know. So with the whole reliability aspect, these are all Acceleras, but usually I run wind forces. Wind force tires, they tend to kind of have a nice even wear with them. More kind of stickier tires like Hancooks and so forth, they kind of chunk off pieces of the tire. So your run time will be kind of a little bit less because, you know, if you chunk off a bunch of pieces and that tire lets go, then, you know, you're pretty much done with that set and have to throw another one on. Acceleras, they tend to be pretty grippy as well. So yeah, I like to usually run wind forces in the rear and then a nice kind of Hankook setup on the front. Just something really sticky on the front just to kind of bring the back where I want to. And then like I was saying with the sidewall tires, or the sidewall of the tires, you know, if you have kind of a little bit bigger of a sidewall, they'll basically have a sense of kind of gearing up your car by putting it on the rear. And then also having a little bit lower of a sidewall, it won't have as much kind of distortion effect and as much roll. So it's a little bit snappier and it's a little bit more kind of predictable with it, especially if you got it on the front of your car. So now I'm just gonna go over how a tire is measured, how you wanna measure them for a certain wheel you got, and then just kind of get a kind of rough idea to kind of see what you're trying to do to get the best tire on your car to get the most grip out of it, or if you're just trying to make your car slide around really easily for practicing, you know how to not have as much grip for it. So this first number right here, the 225, that's the size of the width of the tire in millimeters. The 45, that's the size of your tire's sidewall. A lot of people like to call that the series. And then the 17, that's the size diameter wheel that the tire could go on. So the first number, the width, I'm trying to see which number width you need for what kind of wheel. Just pretty much take your width, convert it to inches, and then kind of see what size wheel you could kind of put that on. So let's say I got an 8-inch tire and I'm trying to put a 245 on it. I don't know how many inches that is off the top of my head, but I would just convert the 245 to inches and then just kind of get a rough estimate from there. Of course, any tire shop you're kind of dealing with, just ask them, they'll know. Having too low of a width, that will give the wheel kind of a stretching effect. This wheel actually has a little bit of stretch on it with it being a small kind of width. You could kind of see the lip of the wheel kind of poking out a little bit and the tire's kind of flexing kind of outward to stay on it. And then if your width is too high, then the tire will kind of have a bulging kind of effect to it. And then with that bulging effect, the sides will wear out a lot quicker with your tire, the way it's kind of bulging out like that and rounding off. When also measuring your sidewall, you kind of want to take it into account with how close it's going to get to your fender. You kind of want to change that to kind of inches as well, and kind of just measure from your stock tire to see where it's kind of really be at. Usually if you're getting kind of more performance tires, you know, more wider and everything, this will automatically go down for more of kind of a performance handling, you know, to have that kind of more predictable kind of sidewall to it that kind of, you know, put the power down and have a nice kind of turn in. And then also when you're doing a higher width wheel or higher width tire, having a higher kind of width on the back, that will make transitions a lot easier. It'll make them a lot smoother and predictable. But having a lower width, that's kind of better for starting off because that way the car naturally just wants to slide around and drift. So yeah, just how I started off personally, and I recommend it a lot, is I can run about 500 horsepower in my car, but I turned the boost way down. It was running about the 280, maybe 300, something around there. And so I just put super skinny tires on the back of it and just messed around with that forever. It really kind of gave me a lot of throttle discipline with it. So, and then I got the feel for it, and so once I put a lot bigger tires on the back and kind of turned up the boost to put more power to the ground, you know, my my foot is already disciplined with kind of nice modulating of the throttle, kind of putting it where I need to. So again, with a smaller kind of width tire, good to start off with, kind of build your way up as you're kind of going along. You always want to have some pretty sticky tires on the front of your car, you know, just some Hancooks. I don't know what really works best for you depending on your situation. If you have a really low power car and you're kind of starting off, you don't want to have something too crazy up there just kind of bringing you around. But yeah, you do want some pretty sticky tires up on the front. You know, of course, just starting off, whatever you could find, just put them in the back, you know, just to learn and get that run time. But if you do have the luxury of the choice, then still kind of have a nice small width tire on the back. Crank up the PSI pretty good. I started off around 45 PSI, kind of worked my way down, so the back end really wanted to go around everywhere. And then once I started putting wider tires on as well, I'd do the same thing. I'd move it back up to 45 PSI, do some runs, get the feel for it, and then just kind of slowly lower it down. Because you know, the higher the PSI, the less grip you'll really have back there, because it doesn't have that kind of distortion effect with the slip angle. I got more on that on the website if you want to check that out. But yeah, and then once you kind of lower that PSI down, then it just gives you a little bit more grip back there, and you can put more power to the ground. So that's pretty much everything about you know, tires. So again, just running down the numbers. First number right here, that's width. Second one's the sidewall. Again, having a higher sidewall, that gives it kind of a gearing up effect. Having a lower sidewall makes it a little bit more predictable. And then the last one's just the diameter of what wheel you're trying to put it on. Usually these kind of run in percentages to each other. I don't really know too much about that, but you know, like I said, the higher kind of width wheel or tire you're going to get, it'll kind of change the sidewall. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe even learned something. I know I went over a lot of information, so hopefully it wasn't too bad. If you have any other questions relating to wheels and tires, please leave it in the comments below. I'll try my best to answer it. Maybe even someone else who sees it knows the answer might give it a crack at it. But if anything else related to drifting, such as techniques, maybe purchasing a drift car, just trying to get started, please keep it up for theloveofdrift.com.